The transfer window is getting very, very close, but which players must have to leave to save their career? I went too far. To do better. It was a bit less, wasn't it? In January, who needs to go? I'm going to chuck one out there first, which isn't any of your teams. We've got Rory from CFC Fan TV, Sam from United People's TV, and CJ, otherwise known as Deluded Gooner. Yeah. The first one that popped into my head, and I think a few people said it as well around the office, is Sturridge. It seems like of all the players that desperately need to go and make a move and start playing football, he's the one.
Yeah. For me, he goes. If he's fit, he goes to the World Cup. But I mean, it must be hard seeing Ings, Solanke come off the bench before you, especially whenever he gets the chance, he does bits like against Arsenal. Obviously, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I don't watch them under the microscope. But I wouldn't sell Sturridge. If I was him, I'd want to leave, man. Yeah.
Is he definitely one of the top 5 England strikers? If everyone's playing, if you've got Kane, Rashford, Vardy, Jermaine Defoe, Tammy Abraham's got in the squad recently, Solanke got in the squad recently.
It's in the top 5 strikers, no doubt. It fit. Keeping him fit is the issue. Getting him playing well is the issue. But if he could get anywhere near the form that he showed when he was partnering Luis Suarez up front, he absolutely goes to the World Cup, undoubtedly. Yeah. And probably start. It's Harry Kane +1.
Is he being unfairly done here with Liverpool? Because I think we spoke about this. We probably spoke about this last January. Does he go? Should he move on? Because you've got these other guys coming through. I think a year on, there's so much quality in that front four or wherever it is.
He's not fit.
He's not fit. But there's no reason for him to be, 1, staying at Liverpool, 2, starting for Liverpool.
I mean, go on.
You're saying you don't, unless you're magical, you don't get in. You're not going to displace Mane, Salah, Firmino. That front four is just unreal right now, and it's just an unfortunate situation for Sturridge that he needs minutes. But with that front four playing so well, why is Jurgen Klopp going to give him the minutes?
Yeah,
I think it's when they need something. It's when they're bringing people on,
and they're bringing
the
other
fact
people.
That he's being overlooked.
Yeah,
he should be. I agree with exactly what you said there. He's not going to get in ahead of anybody you've mentioned, but he should be the next one knocking on the door. And as things stand, he isn't, which means he has to leave. I don't quite know where he goes though.
Yeah, I mean that was my next question. Where this, do you know what you often do? You go, good player, can't get in the top team. You go, you should go to Everton. People say that. People always say that because they're like
Everton
next in line,
and
they do need a striker.
Sell him realistically.
I can't see that happening.
It's not going to go. It's not going to happen.
But where else? Where else?
That's the sort of burning question. I think any club that is going to take him on has to be prepared to take the risk. Like these injury issues have been going. I saw this all 5 years ago when he was at Chelsea.
Yeah.
He cannot keep fit, and I don't know if that's due to an ailment that he has or due to a training regime. Maybe he needs somebody to really look at the way that he does things. There's no doubt that he is a great player. There is no doubt. Like that team, that Liverpool team that he played in with Suarez up front, they were magical at times. And I think this is going to sound quite bold, but I think it's probably true. Out of all of the England strikers that you mentioned, I think he's on form. He's the most natural finisher.
He's got that magic, isn't he? He does seem to have a bit more magic.
Harry Kane might just get the ball in the only one we can disagree.
Absolutely. Like Harry Kane is obviously a better player. Harry Kane has a more variety of goal, but in terms of converting the ball and putting it in the net, just getting the ball first time, get it in the back of the net from anywhere, from 2 yards or from 10 yards. Daniel Sturridge is fantastic at that. So a club would be lucky to have him if they could keep him fit. I can't actually think.
You want to fancy him again? Because let's move on to who you've put forward, which is, speaking of clinical, Batshuayi, who does get the odd goal.
He is clinical.
Yeah.
He is clinical, yeah.
So why does he need to go?
Because it's not fit. It's a shame for him. It's just not fit. It doesn't work at Chelsea for him. I disagree with everything I'm saying here, by the way. I don't want him to go. I like him. I like a player who can come on.
Hang on. So what are you saying?
I'm saying that
he needs it.
I'm saying that he is going to go.
Right.
I don't agree with the decision, but this is happening.
That's the Chelsea fan sentiment speaking.
Yeah, I don't want it to happen, but it is going to happen.
Right.
And the reason is because whatever question is posed of Chelsea, whatever is going on the pitch, whatever question somebody asks Antonio Conte, the answer from Conte is never Michy Batshuayi. Yeah. That's never the answer. Yeah. It's Hazard up front. It's a completely different system. It's Morata unfit. The answer is never
Kicking the
Batshuayi, despite the fact that Batshuayi's record for scoring, not only scoring goals, but scoring massive goals.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
Massive goals. His goal won us a Premier League last year. His goal won the game away at Atletico Madrid this year. He scores huge goals. There was a pivotal moment, or it felt pivotal at the time, earlier this season when we played Watford. We were on a bit of a bad run. We were 2-1 down at home to Watford. It felt like if we didn't turn it round, we were going to, like, the season was over. It really did feel terrible. Poisonous atmosphere in the ground. We brought Batshuayi on. Felt like a last roll of the dice. Chelsea won the game 4-2. He scored 2 goals. And at that time, I think in my review that I did that day, I went, this is huge. It felt like that Arsenal game we had last year, you know, where you kind of put that moment down as like, this is it. Batshuayi was the man to come on and do it. But it just isn't working for him, and all of the word coming out of the club is that he's going to rejoin. Michael Emenalo left Chelsea. Michael Emenalo's gone to Monaco.
That's a good club for him. Very good
it
club
feels
to
like
Batshuayi
to Monaco. It feels like it's going to happen.
Loan,
Surely
I
not imagine.
permanent.
Loan with a
to
view.
permanent.
That would suggest that
summer,
you'll be getting a striker in then.
Yeah, you're not exactly flush with strikers right now if you let Batshuayi go as well.
Sam, you are not wrong. we are in a terrible situation up front, and it's pretty much what's cost us this season because we haven't had that player to score the goals when Morata's out injured or just off form.
Right.
We haven't got anyone up front, and it's now got to the point where if this Batshuayi thing happens, we will have one striker. Like, it's not. That's not me saying we got one player.
That's
we literally have one.
Yeah.
Let's move on to. Let's talk Arsenal. So there's 3 names I think that you can imagine we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the ones that people talk about constantly, but it is now coming. I'm almost excited for January just to go. Are they actually going to go or not? Now we can at least have that done and dusted. Ozil and Sanchez. Do either of them? So first question: do either of them need to go for their own careers in January?
I wouldn't necessarily say no. I mean, people know they're world-class players. Whether they go in January or go at the end of the season, they're going to have a list of admirers after them.
Are they allowed to play in the Champions League if they go?
Yeah, I don't think Alexis is. I don't think Alexis is. I'm not sure if. I'm pretty sure Ozil's played in Europa.
They haven't played in the Champions League, have they?
So you're fine, I think.
But does it work if you play in Europa? You can't. I don't know if you can go over and do that. I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
I don't think you can, but I think the people that really need to go is, I don't want him to, but Giroud's going to have to question his future because he wants game time. I want him to stay. Theo hasn't started a game this year. It's arguable that he wants to play. He wants to go to the World Cup. He never gets to go to a World Cup.
He won't go to the World Cup.
Exactly.
He's not going to the World Cup.
He's not going to the World Cup.
Oh, that's horrible.
What's going on at Manchester City and Raheem Sterling means that
crazy.
Theo
the only thing I can see Theo
actually
actually going is because of an option off the bench. If you look at the last England tournament, there wasn't an option off the bench. That's the only thing.
Well, it was Rashford. Never got used.
Yeah, there's Rashford, but then Theo, I'm looking at is that different options open up different games. So I can make a sly case for Theo, but it's very weak and he's not going. But if he wants to have any chance, he needs to go and play football.
Yeah, he needs to go and score 12 goals.
He needs to go and have a season like last year. Yeah, he can go over. Driving myself, man.
Well, Allardyce wants him. Allardyce wants him.
Is that the answer to everything? Everton.
I think a natural.
Even Southampton.
Giroud.
Everton.
A natural journey.
Giroud's not allowed to leave. Giroud, you can't go until the end of the summer. Till summer, Giroud has to stay.
Well, there are so many.
Because
a big point with all of these guys is the World Cup. If they want to get in those World Cup squads, and Giroud has done well. He's able to sort of stick in there in the French squad when they've got so many good
better options than him. That's the honesty.
I don't understand the antipathy towards Giroud from what I see as sort of Arsenal support. I don't feel like he's very popular.
What is the split?
I'd say it's on one hand, it's not Giroud. Giroud's been a very good signing since he's come. In relation to himself, like his record is decent. The other is because of, if you remember when he came when Van Persie left. Wenger initially said he's going to accompany Van Persie, blah, blah, blah. Then he later said when Van Persie left that Giroud was in fact a replacement. Giroud's a good player, but he's never been that Thierry Henry, that insert every other name, and he's never going to be that. That's why, and we persisted with him for time, and it wasn't even his fault. It was Wenger keeping him in the role he's not fit enough to do, and that's why he got a lot of flack.
He seems to score from the outside. He seems to score every time he plays.
He does, but if you remember that year,
which is very good.
I think it was the season Leicester won the league. There was a year, the first half of the season, he was absolutely on fire. Ozil was assisting him. Then after that, he won on them. I think he went 10, 11 games, maybe even more without scoring. That typifies Giroud is good enough to contribute, but he can't lead the line, and that's the problem with Arsenal, with Giroud, with several other players in different positions. Just players just not fit to be in that role consistently. It's not his fault, man.
Poor Olivia.
Yeah. I think I was going to say I reckon the transfer rumors, the natural journey for most transfer rumors are going to be West Ham and Everton. Because as we've been chatting, Batshuayi, Giroud, Walcott, I can see them all going to either of those two because they've probably got the money, they've got the cash to pay the wages. let's talk Man United. Luke Shaw.
Really.
Luke Shaw.
It's the only one.
It's such a...
Mkhitaryan's also...
Mkhitaryan's going nowhere in January, but Luke Shaw... If we're talking about a player who needs a move for his career, Luke Shaw 100% needs a move for his career. And I really fear that...
Because?
Because Jose Mourinho, like, say, Jose Mourinho has not given Luke Shaw too many opportunities at Manchester United. And when he has come in, you know those sorts of players that are on the fringes of your team, so that when they come in, the manager almost expects them to give a 9 or a 10 out of 10 to prove that they then deserve more minutes. But if you've hardly played any football, it's really hard to put a 9 out of 10 in straight away.
Especially in that position.
That happened to Luke Shaw last year, and obviously he had his double leg break, came back, and then got another setback. Like a year and a half of bad injury problems. And then he never really had that consistent run of games. This year, he played twice in a week in the last 2 weeks now. He won man of the match both times. But he still didn't start away to West Brom. And you're thinking, what does Mourinho not... What's stopping Mourinho from playing? There's clearly an attitude problem behind the scenes.
That's it.
I know I say clearly, we're all making assumptions here.
No, it is clearly.
Pochettino said stuff about his attitude.
And I genuinely fear that, say, in the summer or in the January, probably in the summertime, that Luke Shaw could make his way to Tottenham Hotspur and Danny Rose could come to United, because Pochettino will get the best out of Luke Shaw. I think he'll turn him into one of the best left-backs in the league, and we'll be left with Danny Rose, who's got injury problems, letting a left-back go who's got injury problems. But for Luke Shaw, when he came to United, I genuinely thought, wow, we've got a left-back here who could be here for a decade. He's going to be England's left-back for a decade. And it's just not worked out for him, but he's still got that in his locker.
The thing is, he can still be that.
He's 100% got
arm
that.
around the shoulder.
Any chance of a straight swap?
Do they exist anymore? Is that actually a thing?
They're not happening.
No, I don't want him to leave. But I think if I'm Luke Shaw right now, and I put those 2 performances in, I'm thinking, what more have I got to do to start a Premier League game? And it wasn't even that. When Antonio Valencia went off with an injury against West Brom,
Rojo came
Young was moved to right back, Rojo was then brought on at left back. Instead of Luke Shaw, who's sitting there, I've said, man, I've just put in 2 blinding performances.
It's not happening, is it?
It's a bit like you say, Batshuayi is not that first choice.
What can we do?
He can't do anything else at that point apart from think, you know what, I'm going to have to move on. And I really hope he doesn't, but I fear it could happen.
Do you think he could go out on loan for 6 months, get his confidence back, believe how he can, how good he is again, and then challenge in the summer for a spot again? But that all relies on Jose, obviously, in the personal stuff.
Mourinho doesn't strike me as a manager that would let a player go for 6 months, give him a chance, then come back and say, there you go. If he believed in him that much, he would give him the opportunity himself.
Yeah, sad, really.
Okay,
sad.
and my pick. So I get to have a pick. I've got 3 actually here. These are players who I think they need to move for them. So Johnny Evans, I think a lot of people have fancied him for a while, so he's got an opportunity to get back. And if you can go to Man City, then do that, because West Brom are really struggling at the moment. Yeah. Danny Ings, with the injury problems that he's had, I think it'd be great for him to move. And I think teams like Newcastle, who's been linked with, would be a great move for him. Or maybe I think West Brom are interested in him as well, and they need a striker, so that would be a good one. And then the most important one for me, because I absolutely love him, is Wilfried Zaha. He's too good to be at Crystal Palace for me.
He's not going to turn his back on Crystal Palace in January.
No, he probably won't. But I think he needs to move on. He is too good.
But where does he go?
The stuff that he can do with the football, there's so few players that can do that at the pace that he does it. I think he's fantastic. I think he made a massive mistake letting him go.
No, yeah, but he didn't really have a chance at United, to be fair.
Sometimes you've got to be too early. Sometimes it can come a little bit too early. Maybe for Luke Shaw, he's kind of gone there and his attitude hasn't been right because he was a bit too young and inexperienced. Like someone like Lallana, he's had a great career at Liverpool now because he was able to sort of start and work his way through the leagues, get that experience, and then he was able to make that move. Spurs has always been linked with, hasn't he? Yeah. Everton.
Chelsea's been mentioned.
Link up with Balassi.
Chelsea's mentioned, yeah.
I mean, I don't know where he'd fit in at Chelsea. But.
Well, I suppose Willian, I think Willian's a great player, but he does come in for a lot of stick. He'd be competing with him for that position.
Okay. Right, so those are the people that we've suggested who might need a move in January. Let us know who you think needs to make the move in the January transfer window. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. We'll see you soon.